आन्तरिक लगानीको बारेमा, लगानीको वातावरणको बारेमा यो बजेटको पूर्व सन्ध्यामा एउटा विडम्बनापूर्ण विषयमा छलफल गर्नुपर्नेछ। नेपाल अनि इथियोपिया अनि सिरिया मात्रै यस्ता देशहरू हुन्, ती देशबाट बाहिर लगानी गर्न पाइँदैन अनि हामी चाहिँ विदेशी लगानी हाम्रोमा आउनु पर्यो भनेर एकदमै जोडतोडका साथ लाग्छौँ। पहिलो त हाम्रो उद्यमीहरूले पनि विदेशतिर कहिलेदेखि लगानी गर्न पाउने, त्यो खुला कहिले गर्ने भन्नेमा पनि मनन होस्, चिन्तन होस् भन्ने मेरो पनि चाहना। किनभने नेपाली कम्पनीहरू पनि विदेशी वा ग्लोबल स्टेजमा गएर डेलिभर गर्न सक्ने भएका छन् जस्तो लाग्छ। केही इन्डस्ट्रीहरूले त्यो वातावरण देखाउनु भएको छ। रोकेर रोक्न सकिँदैन भन्ने कुरा त देखिएकै छ। धेरैवटा हाम्रै लगानीकर्ताहरूले विदेशमा लगानी पनि गर्नुभएको छ। कसरी लगानी गर्नुभएको छ, कति दुःख खेप्नु भएको छ भन्ने कुरा उहाँहरूलाई नै सोध्यो भने पनि थाहा होला। अघि बिहानै त नभनौँ, दिउँसोतिर सुदर्शनजीले सुरु गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ नेपालमा लगानीको वातावरण एक लेभलको सुधार, जुन अघि महेश सरले पनि भन्नुभएको छ, उदारीकरण अथवा खुला अर्थतन्त्र हामीले एडप्ट गरिसके पछाडि एउटा झट्का चाहिँ केही आउनुभयो र ती आउनुभएकाहरूको भेरी इन्फर्मल कन्भर्सेसन हुनेछ यो। र आइसके पछाडि त्यो बेलाको लिडरसिपले के गर्यो कस्तो गर्यो भन्ने अघि हामीले सुनिहाल्यौँ। हामीले के कुरा मात्रै गरिरहेछौँ भने यहाँ पोलिटिक्स र गभर्नेन्सलाई जोड्न खोजिरहेछौँ, अथवा पोलिटिक्स र प्राइभेट सेक्टरको त राम्रै देखिराखेको छ, तर एट द सेम टाइम हाम्रो ब्युरोक्रेसीमा त्यो भनेको गभर्नेन्समा हुनुपर्ने सुधारहरू के कस्ता छन् त भन्ने बारेमा पनि अलिकति छलफल गरौँला। किनभने अघि महेश सरले भने जस्तो त्यो बेलाको लिडरसिपको एउटा भिजन र त्यो भिजनलाई पछाडिबाट ब्याकअप गर्ने अथवा त्यो भिजनको साथ अगाडि बढ्ने ब्युरोक्रेसी पनि त्यत्तिकै महत्त्वपूर्ण थियो। जुन बेला लिबरलाइजेसनको कुरा गरियो, नेपालमा मार्केट खुला गरियो, त्यो बेलामा नेपालको ब्युरोक्रेसीमा स्वर्गीय डाक्टर भोला चालिसे, विमल वाग्ले सर यतै हुनुहुन्छ होला, त्यस पछाडि भानु आचार्य लगायत धेरैजना सचिवहरू चाहिँ एग्रेसिभली यो कुरा चाहिँ गर्न सकिन्छ, गर्नुपर्छ भनेर कुरा गर्नुहुन्थ्यो। मैले बिचको एउटा कन्भर्सेसनमा योजना आयोगका पूर्व अध्यक्ष पृथ्वीराज लिगललाई सोधेको थिएँ, त्यो बेलाको रिफर्म केले अगाडि बढाएको थियो त सर भनेर सोद्धाखेरि गिरिजाप्रसाद कोइरालाले एउटा मात्रै कुरा भन्नुहुन्थ्यो, इल्लिगल र देशघात हुने कुनै काम नगर, तर इन्डियाभन्दा एक स्टेप अगाडि हामी कसरी जान सक्छौँ त्यसलाई मात्रै हेर, हामी त्यो लेभलमा जानुपर्छ भनेर सक्नुहुन्थ्यो भने त्यो डेलिभर गर्नको लागि ब्युरोक्रेसी पनि त्यही अनुसारले लागेको थियो। त्यो भएर यो अहिले गफ मात्रै भन्दा पनि त्यो एउटा टिमअपको कुरा थियो र प्राइभेट सेक्टर पनि त्यही भएर उत्साहित थियो जस्तो लाग्छ। त्यही उत्साहको बिचमा यो मल्टिनेसनल्सहरू किन नेपालमा छन् अथवा विदेशी लगानीकर्ताहरू किन आउनु भएको छ भन्ने कुराको छलफल हुँदा हाम्रो यो कन्भर्सेसनको मोड पनि मल्टिनेसनल्स नै हुन्छ। आई मिन मल्टी ल्याङ्ग्वेज हुनेछ। हामी केही नेपालीमा र केही अङ्ग्रेजीमा गफ गर्नेछौँ। त्यसलाई हजुरहरूले सहजतापूर्वक लिनु होला। अनि धेरै लामो हामी चलाउँदैनौँ, किनभने सुनिलजी हुनुहुन्न, रविजीले उहाँलाई कभरअप गर्नुहुन्छ सेसन। हामी टाइम अलरेडी क्रस भएकोले गर्दा चाँडै नै सिधाउने प्रयास गर्छौँ। हामीसँग रवि सर हुनुहुन्छ, शैवाल सर हुनुहुन्छ, अनि त्यसरी नै अम्लान सर हुनुहुन्छ। उहाँहरू नेपालमा हुनुहुन्छ। वाज दिस अ ट्र्याप? आई मिन वन्स वी ओपन द इकोनोमी in 90s, we opened the economy, and basically why you are here? I mean, like, why you came to Nepal? What were the factor that motivate you people coming to Nepal to invest and or to do your business? When we see like a lot of Nepalese businessmen, they are still struggling with a lot of policy matters. But we see all three companies are progressing, and all shareholders, including the employees, are very happy. Why you came here? I mean, when you see the business environment as per the conversation, very difficult here. Ravi sir. Yep.
Thank you, Dipenderji. This is it's an honor to be here and share the stage with my fellow colleagues in Nepal. Nepal came into Nepal in the year I think the company was established in 1984, and very soon ITC came in as an investor in Surya, Nepal. I think for any company to enter a country, the reasons are economic. And Nepal presented a huge opportunity during that time. It was a market that was ready to be developed. Consumption was about to start. I mean, it's a story of any developing economy, where over the years you see potential as the economy grows. But very fundamentally, at the core of all of this, it was a market where the cost of capital of doing business was low. Okay, so for example, today in Nepal, whenever we do some projects, we consider a cost of equity of 16%, right? Now you add the cost of compliance to this, that cost of capital easily inches up to about 17 to 19%. Now that I think is at the core of reasons for either business investment happening or not happening. Now which means that any project that comes into Nepal through the FDI route must deliver a return which is higher than the cost of capital, which is 17 or 18%, which is a very, very tall order, right? So I think that's at the core of the issue. I think we can talk more about this. I'm sure my fellow colleagues will also throw some light on this.
Same question, Amlan sir.
Thanks for inviting me, and thanks to all my fellow colleagues over here. My first and foremost point of, I'll start a bit from the, so the decision which Unilever took 32 years back, today I didn't take the decision, but I'm proud and happy that we took that decision. Because in this 32 years journey, we have made progress, we have grown, and we have run a profitable and healthy business in Nepal. Now, the reason, two. The first reason is that in terms of the population of Nepal, and you know that we don't deal with any high technology stuff. As our ex-CEO said, Unilever Global CEO said, we sell soaps and soups, which is very simple. The Nepal, in terms of the population, is the 49th largest country in the world. That means that there is a consumer base which is there in Nepal. Unilever operates in more than 150 countries, and in 108 plus countries we produce. So logically, Nepal will be one of our destination, and Nepal had been our destination. That's the logical answer. There is the second point which I would like to highlight is that every business, while Ravi spoke about the finance part of it, every business also looks at the proximity and the understanding of the consumer. As you know that Unilever has a large business in South Asia, and the consumers in South Asia are almost similar in terms of the nature. And hence, it is logical that our understanding of South Asia is being extended to Nepal, and our products which has been successful in this part of the world, it was expected that it will be successful in Nepal. And luckily for us, today we claim that 8 out of 10 households in Nepal use our product. So yes, it has been successful. The consumers have accepted. So in both the cases, in terms of size and also in terms of the logical extension, Nepal was a very, very easy answer. And we took the plunge.
Thank you. Saibal sir.
Namaskar. Thank you for having me here. Barger किन नेपालमा आयो त्योभन्दा पनि म एउटा जनरल पर्सपेक्टिभ दिन चाहन्छु 1990s आफ्टर नेपालको इकोनोमी ओपन अप गर्यो त्यही बेला हामी एउटा तुलनात्मक हिसाबले हेरौँ इन्डिया र नेपालको स्थिति कस्तो थियो So after the opening up, Nepal was having fantastic growth, right? Average Nepal ko 7% GDP growth bhayiरहेको थियो जुन बेला India was struggling at that point of time. India 4 देखि 5% मा growth थियो. That is one aspect. Second aspect के थियो त्यही बेला सबैजना ग्लोबलाइजेसनको कुरा आइरहेको थियो एन्ड नेपाल इज जस्ट नेक्स्ट डोर फ्रम इन्डिया अन टप अफ द्याट बिफोर वी केम इन हाम्रो सामानहरू डाइरेक्टली अर इन्डाइरेक्टली ट्रेड च्यानलबाट नेपालमा उपलब्ध थियो ओके थर्ड बिकज अफ भनौँ न हामी कल्चरली क्लोज छु मोरलेस अर्निङ पनि क्लोजै छु त्यही बेला त अझ क्लोज थिएँ होला त्यसले गर्दा कन्ज्युमर डेमोग्राफिक्स एज वेल एज साइकोग्राफिक्स मोरलेस एउटै छ सो वी आर एस्योर्ड कि हाम्रो एउटा लेभल अफ बिजनेस वाज एस्योर्ड सो प्रोबेबली द्याट वाज द मेन रिजन दो त्यही टाइमको परिसूचक र आजको परिसूचकमा निकै परिवर्तन आइसकेछ द्याट इज प्रोबेबली समथिङ गोइङ फरवर्ड इन द आवर डिस्कसन विल एड्रेस थ्याङ्क यू
Thank you, sir. Ravi, sir, coming back to you, I mean, like, when you enter in the market, Nepali market, how is the growth pattern compared to then and now? You know, what are the, you know, companies' experience in terms of expanding the businesses, other ventures in Nepal? What are the future plans?
So we've been extremely bullish about our prospects in Nepal, and I think over the years, that confidence that we had in the Nepalese market has only become a reality. As you know, I mean, I don't want to trace the growth in turnover and profits, but we become the largest taxpayer in the country. And that's a reflection of not just the power of consumption in Nepal, but also the future potential that it holds. Currently, we are also diversifying. We are investing in new businesses. You know, our FMCG portfolio is growing. So we continue to invest. You know, we had 2 factories. Now we have a 3rd factory and we bought a land for a 4th factory. So we are continuously investing in Nepal. We continue to be very bullish about prospects here. Despite temporary macroeconomic blips, okay, and these are business cycles that keep happening. I mean, Nepal also goes through its own cycle of business. There are good years and there are bad years. But in the long run, much like the potential that we see in the entire subcontinent, Nepal is a part of that growth story. And Nepal is a hugely potential investment destination for all of us. We also have land for our hotels business, so we would like to get into the hospitality business as well. The land has been procured and, you know, kept for some time. Obviously, we're facing some issues there, but that's an 800 million rupee investment waiting to happen at any time. So we are committed. So that's the level of commitment that, you know, we have, and that's the level of confidence that we have in Nepal's future. So we will continue to invest.
I'll come back again on the area of hospitality business that, you know, under your plan. Amlan sir, like, you work in multiple countries, as you mentioned. What are the fundamental differences while you work in other countries and you work in Nepal? You know, basically in terms of working culture, infrastructure, and the market.
Hello. See, every market, we expect that market to be different. While I had global exposure, but I have mostly worked in India, and I must say that from the consumer point of view, there is not much of a difference in terms of the consumer profile, particularly the north and the eastern part of India and Nepal. We can see lots and lots of similarity in terms of consumer choice, in terms of consumer behavior, and so on and so forth. Having said that, we need to keep in mind that the per capita income of Nepal is something where it leaves lots of headroom. Nepal, in terms of, as I mentioned, in terms of size, population size is the 49th largest country in the world. But in terms of GDP size, it is the 99th country in the world. Now, it is a headroom also a disadvantage. I'll talk about the headroom also. So very clearly the headroom is that, like the adjoining, and I don't want to compare Nepal with some countries which are far away, like the adjoining economies like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India. I'll give you an example. The FMCG consumption of Sri Lanka previous to this crisis was 2.5 times of that of Nepal. That, there are two ways of looking at it. One way of looking at it is to feel sorry that, oh my God, this is so low. Another way of looking at it, and that's what we look at it, is that there is that much of headroom. Even to the next target, which can be, say, Sri Lanka, or it can be some of the states of India, and I'm not talking about states like, say, a Gujarat or a Tamil Nadu or a Maharashtra, even some of the adjoining states. The opportunity of Nepal is huge. The difference which I feel, if I have to call out two differences in the market of Nepal, one is that the Nepal consumers, particularly the valley consumers, we split the Nepal into valley and non-valley part of it, they are extremely, extremely beauty conscious. The beauty quotient for the consumers are extremely high. The exposure to products, because number of people from Nepal go out. Again, this has been seen as a problem, but for us, the consumers get exposure to the global products because they stay in different parts of the world. So that gives an advantage in terms of a profile. Having said that, the challenge which we face, if this is an advantage, the challenge which we face is that we need some stricter, stronger control by the government in terms of the IPR Act, in terms of our product and the safeguarding our brands, which I must say that is much better in some of the other countries which we operate. Today, for a organization, for a marketing company, there is nothing more important than the people and the brands. And it is important that we safeguard our brands, and it is important that if there is any infringement in terms of our brands, the government is extremely, extremely conscious and takes reaction. And I would say that if there is one difference which I would like to highlight is that government can do better in this space in terms of helping us to safeguard our brand and the property right. Is it getting better? Definitely it is getting better. But there are headrooms in terms of doing that.
Yeah, I'll come back to on that point. Like Nepal being a member of WIPO, and they have judicial power under the Department of Industry and everything. Where you see the gaps, why the efficiency of the government agency on that special matter is still, lagging behind, because we see a lot of cases over there, and we have experienced the foreign company who were presented in Nepal, they already faced a lot of challenges to deal with those cases. Where you see, especially government need to move, or each of the process or legal infrastructure where?
It's very simple. 44% of Nepal GDP is dependent on import. So hence, if it is dependent on import, then import is being made easy. Anybody who is having an import license can import products from different parts of the world and sell it over here and make some money. The problem is that lots of time, and most of the times, the imported products are of inferior quality. They are either near expiry or expired or rejected. The government, while I can understand government's dependence on import, while that can definitely change, but what government can do better is that put a stringent quality check. I think government has already taken a step in the last budget. Government has taken step in terms of putting the declaration of all the imported products and all. This is a very, very welcome step to the right direction. How much it is implemented? in case of any deviation, how strong government is creating examples so that it will be used as a deterrent is something which government can think of.
थ्याङ्क यू सैवाल सर यो नेपालदेखि बाहिरबाट आएर नेपालमा इन्भेस्ट गरेको being an outsider investor or company owner, always difficult to talk about the policy regime of the home country, I mean this country where the company is existed. कहिलेकाहीँ हामी सवाल सर नेपाली राम्ररी बोल्नु पनि हुन्छ बुझ्नु पनि हुन्छ त्यही भएर मैले कहिलेकाहीँ हामी त्यो देशमा गएर कम्पनी खोलिराखेका छौँ त्यहीँ अपरेट गरिराखेका छौँ अनि त्यही देशको पोलिसीको बारेमा गफ गर्नलाई अलिकति ब्याकसिटमा बसेको त होइन त्यही भएर फिल फ्री नेपालको एफडीआई रिलेटेड इश्यूजमा हाउ कोअपरेटिभ इज आवर गभर्नमेन्ट and governance in terms of foreign direct investment or how friendly our policies towards multinationals.
इसमें भन्दाखेरि के छ फास्ट आउँदाखेरि इट मे टेक अ बिट अफ टाइम एन्ड भनौँ न अलिकति ह्यासल छ बट सजिलो छ गाह्रो छैन यु निड टु ह्याभ स्लाइटली मोर टाइम प्रब्लम कहाँ हुन्छ भने त्यसपछिदेखि प्रब्लम स्टार्ट हुन्छ एन्ड प्रब्लमको जड मलाई लाग्छ कि सरकारको अलिकति पोलिसी कन्सिस्टेन्सी हुनु पर्यो पोलिसी कन्सिस्टेन्सी नभएको हुनाले अहिले हाम्रो जस्ट अगाडि अनुपजी पनि यो कुरा गरिराख्नु भएको थियो इट्स भेरी डिफिकल्ट टु प्लान एन्ड कहिले कहिले यति माने एउटा गभर्मेन्ट चेन्ज हुने बित्तिकै यति मेजर चेन्ज हुन्छ म एउटा सिम्पल इक्जाम्पल दिन्छु हामी सबैजना हाम्रो केही ब्रान्डहरू कन्ट्र्याक्ट म्यानुफ्याक्चरिङ गर्थे न कन्ट्र्याक्ट म्यानुफ्याक्चरिङ किन गर्ने त्यसको प्राइमरीली 2-3टा कारण हुन्छ वान हाई भोल्युम लो प्रफिटेबिलिटी ब्रान्ड गराउने हो जहाँ हाम्रो उत्पादन खर्च अरूभन्दा बढी हुन्छ सो हामीहरू गभर्मेन्टको प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर के छ गभर्मेन्टको प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर हो वान भनौँ आयात प्रतिस्थापन सेकेन्ड रोजगारीको सृजना थर्ड सिपको विकास थ्रु कन्ट्र्याक्ट म्यानुफ्याक्चरिङ सबै हुन्छ हाउएभर अहिले त्यो चेन्ज भएछ लास्ट बजेटमा यो सम्बोधित भइसकेको छ मैले इक्जाम्पल मात्र एउटा दिएँ त्यसले गर्दा सुरुमा गाह्रो छैन र हामी रिप्याट्रिएसन पनि कुरा गर्दाखेरि पहिले रिप्याट्रिएसन अलिकति ह्यासल थियो अहिले त्यो पनि सजिलो भएछ मोरललेस 2-3 महिनामा हुन्छ विच इज फेयरली गुड समस्या पनि नयाँ समस्या थप्दै जान्छ समस्या के हो चाहिँ हाम्रो रोयल्टी एन्ड टेक्निकल सर्भिस फी नाउ इट्स अन्डरस्टुड हामी एउटा ब्रान्ड नेम हाम्रो प्रिन्सिपलबाटै लिइराखेको छु भने त्यसको बाबत रोयल्टी दिनुपर्छ इट्स इन्टरनेसनली एक्सेप्टेड भन्छ दुईवटा भिन्नै आइडेन्टिटी बिजनेस आइडेन्टिटी छ भने तिनीहरूको एनी बिजनेस ट्रान्ज्याक्सन आर्म्स लेन्थमा हुनुपर्छ सो यो रोयल्टी एन्ड टेक्निकल सर्भिस फी सुरुदेखि हामी खर्च मागिराखेको थियो सरकारले पनि दिइराखेको थियो सडनली आएर भने यो खर्च लेख्न पाउँदैन किन पाउँदैन लजिक के हो भने होइन तिम्रै प्रिन्सिपलबाट लिएको हो थर्ड पार्टी लियो भने पाउँछ अरे आफ्नै प्रिन्सिपलबाट लियो भने किन पाउने वेयरएज दुईटै कुरामा जाउँ एउटा ह्याभिङ बिजनेस एट आर्म्स लेन्थ सेकेन्ड भनौँ यो कुरा गर्दाखेरि कि यो एउटा वास्तविक जुन खर्च हो फ्रम ट्रान्सफर प्राइसिङ पोइन्ट अफ भ्यूबाट पनि यसलाई खर्चै मानिन्छ एन्ड यो कुरा के हुन्छ आई मिन कुनै लमा चेन्ज गर्नु पऱ्यो भने वाट यु एक्सपेक्ट कि हुएभर इज द स्टेक होल्डर सबैजना सल्लाह गरेर गऱ्यो भने सजिलो हुन्छ वी क्यान पुट आवर पोइन्ट्स भइसकेपछि पनि थाहा हुँदैन र अर्को एउटा अचम्म कुरा म देख्छु के हुन्छ एउटा एस्टाब्लिस एन छ त्यसको सबै कुरा छ एउटा डिपार्टमेन्टल डाइरेक्टिभ सबैलाई चेन्ज गरिदिन्छ होइन न टु द बेस्ट अफ माई नलेज डिपार्टमेन्टल डाइरेक्टिभ जुन भए पनि एनसितै बाजिने गरी हुन त पर्दैन हामी नहुनु पर्ने र त्यसको प्रतिकार खोज्दाखेरि के गर्नु पर्यो लिगल प्रोसेस अपनाउनु पर्यो सो 10-12 वर्ष त्यसमा जान्छ द्याट इज द इम्पेडिमेन्ट्स अदरवाइज सरल त सरल भएछ ओभर अ पिरियड अफ टाइम
थ्याङ्क यू सर एउटा प्रेडिक्टेबल पनि हुनु पर्यो अर्को चाहिँ आर्बिटरी तजबिजी कुराहरू हाम्रोमा धेरै हुन्छ हामीलाई याद छ नेपाल सरकारले चाहिँ देयर आर मल्टिपल इन्भेस्टमेन्ट समिट द्याट वी अलरेडी अर्गनाइज्ड and lot of investment commitment has been done there, but in reality we can reflect on the data how much investment came to this country, and those who signed and came here कहिले कहिले कस्तो हुँदो रहेछ भने they have suffered lot. रेड कार्पेट लगाएर कोठाभित्र लाने इन्भेस्टमेन्ट समिटको जहाँ भइराखेको छ त्यहाँ कमिटमेन्ट गराउने अनि भित्र लगेर चाहिँ मुङ्राले हान्ने जस्तो कानुनहरू भयो भने अनि that is so frustrating. And बिहान when महेश आचार्य sir was delivering his speech, why investor will come to this country when there are other competitive area, when other countries are making their legal barriers much easier than Nepal. If we see Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, and compared to the GDP, how much foreign investment they are receiving, we are, as already said, we are less than 1% of our total GDP. And, look at Bangladesh, how they are grown by the, investment, environment. So that's there. So, I mean, it's not only the commitment, but in reality, how we function our investment environment or how we deliver the services to the investor is also important thing. Ravi sir, very honestly, what is stopping Surya Nepal to open up the hotel? I mean, as we know, your parent company is operating very big, beautiful hotels outside in India as well. And then service industry being one of the very growing sector in Nepal. For a long time, I heard this news about Surya Nepal opening up the new big hotel somewhere around in Budanil Kantha, if I am correct. So what's stopping Surya Nepal?
Okay. I mean, we'll not get too much into the details of why this is not happening, but so from our side, we are ready. Okay, we purchased the land, and I think as you would expect, there are issues related to land that we continue to face. I think we bought about 72 ropenis. We've already given up some 8 ropenis because of some, adjoining issues. Even after that, we are not able to go ahead because of some small issue that we are dealing with related to land. We continue to do all the other work which pertains to setting up the structure for bringing up the hotel, but it's going very slow. For us to pending that small land issue that we have. But yeah, so even after giving up land that we have paid for, we are still not able to start. We are working with the government. I mean, the intent is there. They really want to help us. But I think at the end of the day, see, we have to, one of the reasons why Surya Nepal and other companies, we've been successful in Nepal is that we've learned to live with the local ecosystem. You can't be separated from the local ecosystem and hope to succeed. Okay, so you have to be one with the local ecosystem and be part of their growth story as well and be part of their aspiration as well. So if that doesn't happen, you can build, huge structures, you can build in a lot of money, you can bring in a lot of money, but consumers and patrons will not, value that. So I think in that journey, we have to take some decisions which keep first societal interests in mind, rather than purely financial or economic interests of Surya Nepal. So everything has to gel, and then, things will happen. And it's happened. I mean, for us, we are a living example of how success can happen if we become one with the local ecosystem.
Amlan sir, when we talk about the ecosystem, there comes the ownership of the people. First question is how you feel, people take ownership of the Nepal liver here in Nepal. And at the same time, second question is there any plan to integrate the local, product or, as a raw material? Or so where I'm trying to mentioning is there any plan to integrate the backward linkages there in your businesses? Because when we read our, data and, when we read our government reports, we feel proud about there are a lot of, non-timber forest, or Nepal is rich in terms of jari-buti and everything, and all like, local product, or even, the product very close to your final product. So is there any plan? Two questions. How you feel the ownership and the, backward linkages?
Okay, first your first question first. So as far as the people are concerned, I think our principle is that we have to give first to expect. What we have done, I'll give you an example that we faced significant issues in terms of industrial relationship till some years back. We sat with the union and we had a very, very transparent discussion with them. Outcome is that for the last 4 years, starting from 2021 till to date, and touchwood, we haven't lost even 1 man-hour in our factory, right? So definitely both whether it is union and whether it is, if it is called management, I don't want to call it a management, I would call it the team which is running the business, both we have appreciated each other's issue and we have created a conducive atmosphere. As far as the non-factory or non-factory employees are concerned, again, as we speak, there are Nepali employees who are working in London. They are working in our treasury department. They have got the job through open job interview, and one of them has been promoted recently at their own credit. There are multiple people who are working in South Asian different operations. So hence, what we ensure is that we don't not only develop, but we help people to aspire and reach to their next level. If we don't do that, then why are we a multinational company? So that perhaps is one of the most important part of it. We always say that we are a Nepali registered Nepali company who operates in Nepal. We take care of our stakeholders, and one of the largest stakeholder is our shareholders. I am sure some of you may know that our share price is the highest in Nepal, and it has gone up significantly in the last few years. Also, if you look at the dividend, 4 years back our dividend was in 600 to 700 range. And last year we gave dividend almost to the range of 1700. So it is an honest taking care of the stakeholders which creates this relationship, and that helps both to kind of operate and both to flourish. As far as your second part of the question, I think I am the wrong person to ask this question. We have created the industry. We have created a factory which delivers almost 20,000 tons per year. As far as the packing materials are concerned, previously it used to be 20 to 25% of the packing materials were being sourced from Nepal. As we speak, we are at 80% plus. And my challenge to my team is to make it 100%. As far as the raw materials are concerned, you need to understand that if the consumers need global quality products, the products to be at par with the quality which is being sold Like, let me give you an example. I'm sure lots of you go out of Nepal. The Dove soap which you get in UK, the Dove soap which you get in India, and the Dove soap which you get in Nepal, which we make, are exactly the same quality. Now, if that is the case, then the raw material, and if we have to source the raw material here, then the ancillary industries need to grow. And that is the government's job to create conducive atmosphere for the ancillary industry to grow. We are ready to help. We are here. We have given a assurance that we are here for 32 years. I can give assurance for another 68 years at least that we'll be here. Now, with that assurance, let government help the ancillary industries to grow. And definitely we will source from Nepal. Understand that when we import raw materials from outside Nepal, not only we pay high taxes, there are challenges in terms of the taxation. There are cases where the raw material taxes are equal or higher than the finished goods. Let me give you an example. There is a item which is called LES, which is used for shampoos. To import a shampoo, you pay 20%. To import LES, you pay 30%, which is impractical, right? So hence, we would love to source LES from Nepal. Now create an industry to source it. We don't deal in LES. We deal in shampoo. So those who deal in LES, make LES at a global standard in Nepal, and I guarantee you that we will source from Nepal.
Let's hope that will happen very soon, yeah. So I mean, Nepal government ले industrialization मा industry मा धेरै काम गर्नु पर्यो भन्ने हिसाबले they are trying to focus on SEZ, special economic zone, for a long time. Any plan to move there, or where you see the challenges that if you expand the business, are we willing to go there in SEZ different?
भन्दाखेरि के हुन्छ enough installed capacity inside during COVID पछि आयो हाम्रो not only the entire industry last 2 भयंकर डिग्रोथ गरेछ. So point, suppose भोलि गएर एक्सपेन्ड गर्नु पर्यो, existing ठाउँमा पनि एक्सपेन्ड गर्ने स्कोप as it is at least for next 7 years. But पढ्यो भने पनि तपाईको क्वेशनको म आन्सर गर्छु. Why SEZ? के एक्स्ट्रा बेनिफिट छ? के पनि छैन. हैन. आज हामी जहाँ छु त्यहाँबाट नयाँ ठाउँमा शिफ्ट गर्नको लागि केही एक्स्ट्रा बेनिफिट भएर मान्छे सोच्न सक्छ. म तपाईलाई एक एक्जाम्पल दिन्छु. हामीले जुन बेला यो कम्पनी एक्वायर गरे थिए त्यही बेला भक्तपुरमा हाम्रो एउटा सानो फ्याक्ट्री थियो. आज छ. That was the first step. Now Bhaktapur industrial estate no problem ke cha because it's in UN heritage zone. त्यसमा height को restriction छ. Height बढाउन सकिँदैन. र आजकलको दिनमा modern manufacturing plant जुन छ all designs are vertical in nature. कि 3 story ideally 5 story हुनु पर्ने. So र त्यहाँ उत्पादन क्षमता पनि कम थियो, मोडर्नाइजेसनको स्कोप पनि थिएन. त्यही भएर हामीले हिटोडामा एउटा फ्याक्ट्री सञ्चालन गर्यौं. त्यसपछि कुरा आयो कि काठमाडौँ भ्याली भित्र जति उद्योग छ तिनीहरूलाई प्रतिस्थापन गर्ने. भेरी गुड. सो हामी अन्डर दैट हामीले एप्लाई गरे कि लेट्स डू इट. कि काठमाडौँबाट बाहिर गएर उद्योग स्थापनाको लागि जुन बेनिफिट्स छ त्यही भए हामी भक्तपुर फ्याक्ट्री शिफ्ट गर्ने. सो अनफर्चुनेटली त्यसको अझ पनि पोजिटिभ जवाब के पनि आएको छैन. बट यस बेनिफिट छ भने मान्छे डेफिनेटली जान्छ. मलाई चाहिँ लाग्छ एसिएसमा आजको दिनमा गयो भने तपाईँको सर्टन पर्सेन्टेज एक्सपोर्ट गर्नुपर्छ. हालसाल मात्र हटाएको हो त्यो कुरा, हटाएको कि घटाएको होला हामी. बट एडिसनल बेनिफिट भएन भने मेरो आज म जहाँबाट जुन तरिकाले बिजनेस गरिराखेको छु म त्यसलाई किन चेन्ज गर्छु? आई डोन्ट फाइन्ड एनी लजिक किन गर्ने.
थ्याङ्क यू सो हामी कहिलेकाहीँ सिएचको बारेमा कुरा गर्दा त्यहाँ सिएच बनाएको छ यो छ इन्डस्ट्रीहरू आउनु भएन भनिरहेको छौँ त्यसमा हामीले लिगल फ्रेमवर्क अथवा इन्सेन्टिभ के हो त वाट इज द इन्सेन्टिभ फर मी भन्ने कुरा जहिले पनि हेरिराखेको हुन्छन् Ravi sir, coming back to the lucrative offer that Unilever's gave to their shareholder, any plan to go to public very soon, Surya Nepal, being a highest taxpayer in Nepal?
No, you see, the fundamental need for, going public is to raise capital. Okay, so, but if you are able to generate internal capital and reinvest, there is that way no financial need to go public. So for example, if we are going to invest in the hotel, it will be all through internal resources. So therefore, at this stage, there is no real dire need for raising capital for us. So that's one. Obviously, when you go public, there is a larger participation of retail investors, etc. But that we will consider as things go along. Organizations evolve, and I am sure at some time in the future, this will be on the cards.
Thank you. I will start from you. We have 10 minutes around 10 minutes. So as this is a budget conversation, pre-budget seminar, and you operate, Nepal became federal recently, and you operate in multiple, level. I mean, you have to interact with the federal government, provincial government, and the local government as well. Are there any specific policy or regulations that, that's creating problem for your industry, especially three industries, like industry specific, or, at the broader level on the FDI spectrum? Do you have any suggestion to our government? I mean, as finance minister this morning says, please note down all the recommendations that he will be open to include those. Do you especially have any recommendations?
So no, we'll look at it in two aspects. One is long-term strategic framework on policy and the short-term tactical framework on policy. I think in terms of the long-term framework on policy to encourage FDI, I think Nepal has already got a fantastic framework in place. I don't think there's anything that is required to further improve that. I mean, we can always talk about a few improvements here and there, but there's nothing to take away from the current policy that is there, whether it is FITA or Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. Everything is, I think it's conducive to companies coming in and investing in Nepal. Now the issues are outside the policy framework, according to us. One is we have to market ourselves well. When we say we, I'm saying Nepal. We have to market ourselves really well in the external world. We have to create internal capabilities to enhance exports, right? If you do not have labs which are accredited whose reports are not accredited or labs are not accredited, exports will not happen. And therefore, any export-oriented industry, whether domestic or FDI, will not be able to kind of flourish. And then the usual stuff, the cost of compliance in doing business, infrastructure. In India, we are currently looking at some 11 lakh crores of investment in just developing infrastructure. And that, will kind of add to GDP and growth in the future. So I think the issues are, very familiar, but I would generally say there's nothing to nitpick about as far as long-term strategic FDI policy is concerned. I think that's pretty much in place.
Amlan sir, pretty much quite same questions, but you can represent overall, panelist here. I mean, my question will be towards the repatriation, not only repatriation, but also relates to the royalty that you need to pay back to your parent company. We often say we have automatic route for bringing investment and taking out as well. How efficient is this system is working? Like how efficiently this system is working within the department? And if you see any changes, positively changes or amendments, where you see the amendments?
First, I must accept the fact that repatriation, and as we are multinational and we are listed, repatriation of dividend to the parent company, yes, at times it is delayed, but we haven't faced any kind of a situation where we could not repatriate the dividend. That's a good part of it, because there are countries in South Asia where this has been a significant challenge in the last some years. And in that way, and as we know that Nepal, in terms of credibility, in terms of paying the loans back, in the same way helping to repatriate the profit and the dividend, Nepal has been, so there is no issue. I agree with Ravi that the problem which comes at that in two aspects. First aspect is that by mere saying that we want multinationals and the FDIs to come in Nepal, it will not happen. We have to accept the reality. The reality is that multinationals will operate. They will be responsible to the parent company. So hence, whatever is the, and Shaival mentioned this a bit, that whatever with the royalty we have to pay to the parent company, that has to be accepted as a reality. You take the royalty as expense, or you take the royalty as profit. In Nepal, in today's date, in loose terms, it is not being seen as expense, it is being seen as profit, which to me is which needs serious consideration. Because if we are raising this, and here three of us at different level are representing one of the largest multinational in India, we are one of the global ones. Shaival's company works in so many places. So this reality needs to be accepted, that the royalty needs to go and it needs to be treated as an expense. And quickly, the second point which I would say, that this restriction in terms of payment to the foreign vendors, which is hurting Nepal. Let me give an example. I can't bring the best of the vendors globally, because every time I try and engage with them, whether it is a media company, advertising company, or it is a technology company, or the best of the AI companies in the world, my finance guy and the legal guy tells me, Amlan, don't do it, we cannot pay them. We have a restriction in terms of payment. I think it is not conducive. You have to allow the best practices of the world to come to Nepal. That will have a multiplier effect, and that will make Nepal much more competitive.
Thank you.
Because I just want to add a couple of points, sorry, with your permission. It just occurred to me when I talked about the more tactical ones. I think land ceiling is one issue, because it keeps coming as an impediment. It keeps coming as an impediment for further investment. So I think for the industry which wants to invest in Nepal, you cannot have land ceiling laws restrict that investment. I mean, an FDI company cannot open 10 different companies just to buy land, which is what happens here in Nepal. I mean, there's a roundabout route to procure the land, but everybody opens multiple companies to procure land. But as long as you have a project report and an investment proposal which is sound, I think land ceiling should be looked at, and we've been speaking about this for some time. The other is, as Amlan mentioned, intellectual property. There are many of our brands which are registered by, local business houses. So how can we then come in and make investments here when the brands are not even, our own brands, which are, in the technical definition, well-known brands, are registered by other people here. So that also restricts investments if intellectual property is not protected.
Thank you. For the final one, I have one question I just remember to be asked to Ravi sir. But Saibal sir, regarding the challenges, multiple times people mention that, investor mentioned that our labor regulation is one of the big challenge. Do you feel that? तपाईँलाई त्यस्तो लाग्छ त्यो?
होइन, लेबर रेगुलेसन च्यालेन्जिङ त छैन, बट के छ त्यसको इन्टरप्रिटेसन के हुन्छ कहिले कहिले इट बिकम्स स्लाइटली डाइसी. अदरवाइज म भन्छु लेबर ल इज इन प्लेस एन्ड अफ लेट भनौँ लास्ट एटलिस्ट 10 वर्षमा कुनै मेजर लेबर क्राइसिस पनि हामीले देखेको छैन, विच एन्स्योर्स द्याट मोरल स्टेबिलिटी छ त्यही फिल्डमा. बट द प्रब्लम इज एउटा क्वेसन तपाईँ पहिल्यै गर्नुभएको थियो, पिपल हु वर्क विथ द मल्टिनेसनल्स they are happy. Yes, they are happy because they are very well paid compared to other industry. So I don't see that as an impediment because at the end of the day, tisma jati cost huncha, hamro total cost hami herne ho bhane, which is a very insignificant part. And I'm sure we all believe that that जतिजना मान्छे हामीसित काम गरिरहेको छ, they should be happy, they should be able to live a decent life. र another part is that of course in हाम्रो कम्पनीमा कुनै साउ हुँदैन. So virtually from company's point of view बाट एकजना चिफ एक्जिक्युटिभ र एकजना वर्कर त्यसमा फरक केही पनि छैन. They follow the same rules. They follow the same company facilities. Maybe ceiling ma farak parcha, that is quite obvious. But I don't see labor law as a challenge as of now. Yes, संक्रमण कालतिर अलिकति समस्या थियो त्यसमा, निकै ठाउँमा त्यही बेला निकै प्रब्लम भएछ. But after that, I feel that if people who are running the organization are fair to their own employees, त्यसमा खासै प्रब्लम छैन.
Thank you, sir. Hope our union will be more friendly towards the investors and investment. Ravi sir, the final one, I forgot earlier, because Surya Nepal also closed one of the very good brand, Zone Player, used to be here, produced in Biratnagar or somewhere else. What was the reason behind, very quickly that? And another one is, as you are positioned as a VP of the NICCI, what role can NICCI play in terms of, easing up our trade barriers between India and Nepal, how they can work with the local private associations, FNCCI, CNI? Are there enough cooperations within these basically three associations?
See, the apparels business was a long time ago, much before I came in. I'm not sure about all the details, but I think it was probably a taxation issue, which was not favorable for a local business to be set up and run. I leave it at that because I don't know much beyond that. As far as NICCI and our work with partner agencies are concerned, I think we are very, very well integrated with every other industry body, whether it is CNI or FNCCI. I think the great thing about what I have seen, as somebody who's just come in and, we've seen the kind of work, people here work as a team. Nobody has a specific personal agenda. I mean, FNCCI does not have a personal agenda, CNI does not have a personal agenda, and neither does NICCI. And it's great that many of these industry bodies are working hand in hand, and in many of the representations to the government, either in Nepal or in India, we do it together, and we are there, in many of these forums as a joint team. Now, in terms of enhancing India-Nepal trade, I think one is to look at what is the existing opportunity, but there are many new opportunities that can be looked at. IT is one. So we should work with NASSCOM, bring them here, and make them look at the opportunity in Nepal. There are other areas like this, the exports with respect to medicinal aromatic plants, and many other products where Nepal, many other products which are very unique to Nepal, which can be showcased to the world. I think yes, there are a lot of opportunities like that, new ones that we can really go after.
Thank you very much. हाम्रो समय पनि सिद्धिया छ. First of all, lastly, I would like to thank you all three companies for creating jobs in Nepal, paying taxes in Nepal, and creating lots of opportunity, and also giving us exposure to new product. धन्यवाद तीनैजनालाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद. Finally, मेरो भन्नुपर्ने केही पनि छैन. तपाईहरुले पनि सुनिदिनु भयो. धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद. अघि बिचमा केही कुराहरू आएका छन्. हाम्रो रिफर्म कहाँ ओरिएन्टेसन हुनुपर्छ भन्ने कुरामा क्लियरली नआए पनि हाम्रो गभर्नेन्स, हाम्रो ब्युरोक्रेसी, हामीले भर्खरै लामो समय बिताएको कुनै देशले आएर ग्रान्ट दिन्छु लिएन भन्दा त हामी यति झगडा गऱ्यौँ 2 वर्ष बितायौँ. अहिले त्यही ग्रान्ट पनि बन्द भयो. अब फेरि यो गयो भनेर हामी रोइलो गरिरहेछौँ भने इन्भेस्टमेन्ट प्रति हामी कति फ्रेन्डली छौँ भन्ने कुरा त्यहाँबाट पनि देखिन्छ. त्यो भएर हाम्रो रेगुलेसन्सलाई हार्मोनाइज गर्ने र अरू देश जति नै कम्पिटिटिभ हामी हुन सकेनौँ भने हाम्रोमा मात्रै इन्भेस्टमेन्ट, हाम्रो मायाले मात्रै इन्भेस्टमेन्ट आउने होइन. इन्भेस्टमेन्ट त इन्भेस्टरको प्रफिटेबिलिटीले पनि हेर्ने होला. त्यो कुरालाई हाम्रो पोलिसीले सेफगार्ड गर्न सक्यो भने बाहिरको इन्भेस्टमेन्ट आउने सँगसँगै अनि अघि सुरुमा भने जस्तो हाम्रै इन्भेस्टरहरूले पनि लिगल्ली फर्मल्ली उताबाट क्यापिटल गेन ट्याक्स लिएर आउने गरी यहाँबाट विदेशमा लगानी गर्न पाउने गरेको इन्भाइरोमेन्ट हामीले बनाउन सक्यौँ भने जसरी बाहिरको इन्भेस्टरहरू, बाहिरको भिजिटरहरू नेपाल आउँदाखेरि ओहो हाम्रो देशको कम्पनी यहाँ पनि रहेछ भनेर गर्व गर्नुहुन्छ, त्यसरी नै हामी पनि विदेश जाँदाखेरि गर्व गर्ने अवस्था सिर्जना हुन्छ. यो चाहिँ डुएल हो जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई. थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच. म यहीँ समाप्त गर्छु.